But everyone thought I was mental. They're like, you've literally just been sacked for not billing, and now you're going to do the same thing and set up by yourself.
That's Lucy Robinson. 2 weeks before she got fired, her husband said, the only way you can do this is if you get sacked. 2 weeks later, she got sacked. No savings, a 3-year-old at home. It's December 2019. She decided to launch LCR International, a global exec search firm specialising in the fresh produce sector within food manufacturing. Now, for years whilst employed, she dabbled in executive search. It never worked. But as a business owner, it took her a while, but she decided to spend some money on proper training.
Game changer. Like literally, I've taken my business to over 90%.
She now recruits across the globe with clients in China, the Netherlands, South Africa, and she's expanding into the US right now. In year 1, she built 100K. In year 4, 500K. Last year, 650K. This year, she's targeting 800K, and next year, she's targeted £1 million in fees for 2027.
I do not want a massive team, so really growing through automation and AI.
So this is Lucy Robinson, the founder who everyone who knew her thought was mental, who got sacked, invested in proper retained search training, and has since built a £650,000 business, 90% retained, and a mother of 2. Lucy, welcome to the RAG podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
Not a problem. We talked about this in 2025. I think,
Yes.
Was it October, November time-ish?
Yeah, it was probably coming up to 6 months ago now,
Where
so
the hell
something like that.
has that time gone?
I know. Yeah.
It is now early 26. Well, we're in March, which is crazy. And I don't want to find out what you've been up to. So before we get into any stories and any of the story in the past, do me a favor, just give us a quick introduction to you and the brand. I don't want any detail, just the overarching elevator pitch of the company, what you do, location, headcount, that kind of stuff.
Great. So yes, I'm Lucy Robinson. The company is LCR International, and we support fresh produce companies internationally. So essentially our companies are fruit and vegetable growers, exporters. We work with investors, and most of our hires are outside of the UK, not all, but we've worked across 6 continents. We're based in the UK with an international team as well. And then, that's essentially a bit about us.
Amazing. So let's go back a bit, right? You started your business 6.5 years ago, according to my research, but you've been in recruitment for longer than that, right? Obviously as a consultant, and you started, so is it 2007 you started? Was that straight out of uni, or what was the crack there?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Was it 2007? I think
it's
it
on your
2006
LinkedIn, June 2007
even.
on LinkedIn at Reed.
Yeah, there was a very short time before that with a company that don't exist anymore as well, called NID Recruitment.
Right.
So I started with them. Yeah, so that was very much admin support, replacing. I would say admin support. It was a bit of everything. It was like rang a company and it was like, have you got any jobs? That was the line. And then if they had a job, they'd give you a job. So that was pretty much it. But that was, minimum salary, which at the time was like 10,000, I think. All like local area. And so that's really where I started.
And then you ended up in Australia, exactly like me, pretty much the same time as me in Melbourne.
Yeah. So I did the whole like backpacking thing, decided, I think it was just, we had the financial crisis in the UK, obviously 2009, wasn't it? And the last few months of working in the UK, I was just like, get me out of here. Like nobody wanted to hire administrators at that time. It was the least of their concerns. So did the whole backpacking thing. Ended up in Melbourne and was there for 3 years. Working in recruitment.
Literally
in Melbourne.
Exactly what I did. Southeast Asia, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, all of that, and then landed in Melbourne. It was the cheapest place to land. I don't know why. It was just the best flight was to land. I didn't have any plan. I planned to do the whole East Coast backpacking thing, and I didn't do any of it. I'd literally got into recruitment inside like a month or two at Randstad in Melbourne, and then that was it. I only did just under 2 years. I did, and then moved to London. But you remember where did you live in Melbourne? You remember?
I moved to a few places, but at the end I lived in Brunswick.
Right.
If you remember,
pretty cool area.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, but I lived. Where else did I live? Oh, I can't remember. I lived some other places as well at some point. But it was great. I did the same. It was a whole backpacking thing across Southeast Asia. Then I did do the East Coast of Australia. Flew into.
I wish I did.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we had no money by that point, but
did you not do the farm work? Were you not being roped into that?
No, I thought about it, but I managed to get I managed to get the sponsorship visa, but I found a company that wanted to sponsor me. The visa was declined, but they appealed, and I basically stayed in Australia the entire time on this like appeal visa, whatever. Yeah, so that never came through, but I managed to stay. So that was
what
great.
made you
And
leave?
stayed for 3 years. Just family, really. You know, it's obviously, I mean, I loved Melbourne, don't get me wrong, absolutely loved it. But being the other side of the world from family was just needed to come back. So I actually did come back, and then I went traveling again. So then I went to South America, and I did 12 months across South America.
Amazing.
So yeah. So I did quite a bit of travel, which kind of sets up to why I established an international recruitment business as well. But I did all
we're
that
going
travel.
well off piece, but how do you compare? I mean, my brother lives in Peru, and I've been to he lives near Machu Picchu, so I've been down that way a couple of times. I've done like the US and Mexico. I've never done any of the other South American countries. Like, how does it compare to Southeast Asia, would you say?
Yeah, very different. Well, first of all, you had to learn Spanish to do South America. You couldn't get around in English. It's just not possible. So I did spend 6 months before I went learning Spanish. So I got my Spanish to a certain level. I was able to, ask for a bus ticket and, ask for directions and things. So it's different. And each country in South America is very different as well. So like Bolivia is completely different to Brazil. Like there's just no comparison. And then I had to obviously learn Portuguese to go to Brazil as well.
Can you not get by on English or even Spanish in Brazil?
You probably could get by on a bit of Spanish, definitely not English, but I mean, they're just probably look at you and say, well, we don't speak Spanish here for Portuguese.
I know.
So,
my mate lives one of my mates lives in Lisbon, but he lived in Barcelona for 5 years, and he speaks fluent Spanish. Like he's really good, and he just speaks Spanish around Lisbon. He said he's learning Portuguese, but he said he gets some really rude responses. Like people were like aggressively annoyed at him, but he's like, they get what he's saying. And so
that's it. You can pick it up. I think once you know enough Spanish, you can pick it up. So
was there no temptation to stop in South America?
Do you know what? There actually was. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, that I came back to the UK, and then I was like, I want to live abroad. So I was applying for jobs. I remember looking at Argentina, Buenos Aires. I was looking at the Middle East as well. Like, I'm going to go live in, I think I was applying in Dubai and Qatar. Where else did I think I applied for things in Spain, but couldn't decide what I wanted to do. I was just like, where do I want to be? I don't know.
So you chose Leeds.
And so I chose Leeds. Thought this is as good as anywhere.
Back to Leeds. And then, so again, looking at your background, you get back from South America, and then you're with a business then for the next few years it's another 6 years until you start your own agency, right? So before we get to your own startup journey, what was that experience like of your final role as an employee, effectively?
Yeah, I mean, that set me up to where I am today, definitely, because firstly, that was the food industry. That was my first introduction to food manufacturing and hiring. That was all UK based. So yeah, I mean, it was great. I started to do more and more within fresh produce whilst I was there. Absolutely loved it. And that's when I came up with the idea of, this needs a niche. I want to be niche within produce specifically. I actually did that during my time there. So the last year, even less, I think, possibly, set up an international fresh produce desk.
What did you spot in the market that needed a niche?
It was just so different to the rest of the food industry. People tend to stay within the produce industry. So, for example, a lot will grow up on family farms. Their parents will be in produce, and there are definitely people that come into the produce industry, of course, but they tend to do it from quite a young age. So I noticed that it was just very different. People don't cross over from other food categories typically.
Well, who are you placing in those? If they're coming from farming, I'm trying to think. How do you place people? Is it into farms? Is it pulling people out of farms? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, the senior roles, but yeah, I mean, sometimes, they are people heading up the farm. So there'll be, general managers with a farming background, and they will oversee the entire operation. Sometimes that could be very small, but other times it could be, I'm trying to think of one we just placed recently. They hire 14,000 people on the farm.
Oh my God.
They were like massive operations, with different farms. So then they'll have, so many farm managers reporting into the general manager. They'll have commercial, finance, HR, operations, supply and logistics. So we'll hire all of the senior level roles. So yeah, these are huge.
You realise there's a big enough pot and that people play musical chairs in that one space. You don't need to necessarily.
Yes.
It was similar. I mean, when I recruited in London into the Lloyd's of London insurance market, right? It's very, very specific. And they didn't look outside. So if you didn't work within, there's like 300 or so companies in this market that if you didn't work within one of them, you weren't getting. I don't know how anyone got in other than graduation, because you couldn't. I used to get applications from Lloyd's Banking Group, and it'd be like, you've got no chance, right? It says Lloyd's, but it's not the same. And it was a big enough market to just own that. Like, so it sounds, I can relate to it. So
you need to know the market. They want people that know the market. It's not good enough knowing bakery. No. Like, that's completely different. It's a whole other sector. So yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
So what was the you were kind of head of fresh produce at one point for those guys, or head of international fresh produce? What does that mean?
Yeah, it was. It was to set up a new fresh produce division, essentially. So to at that time, I didn't actually have a team. I'd previously had a team. I'd managed a team whilst I was there. But then this position was to set up that desk, launch again. Yeah. Actually, what happened was I haven't put it on my LinkedIn, but I actually left and went back. So I had an idea that I wanted to, at some point, set up my own company. This was the plan. But I wanted to understand how to run a retained search business, and I didn't know how to do it about business. It was we sort of what you call, I say, dabbled in retained. You sell a retainer, then you run it as a contingent search. So I left to go to another business who were fully retained, hated it, and went back. Right. So I was gone for like 2 months, and then came back.
What was the problem? We don't need to go into them, but what was the problem there?
Culture, just purely culture.
Like, what do you mean?
And I did. Just nobody in the office spoke, and nobody spoke to each other, and it was like dead silent, like literally, like you could hear a pin drop, and I'm like, these people, why is nobody on the phone? Like, I just couldn't get on with it. So that wasn't for me. So went back, and then so started completely from scratch, like nothing. I literally having to add contacts to the database, everything. So it was
You did that for how long? A year?
Less. It was 6 months whilst I was there.
And what made you leave?
They got rid of me.
Really?
So, yeah, it's quite an interesting story, really, because I'd been top biller at this company. I'd been there for 6 years. I'd managed a team. I'd progressed. If you look, I'd progressed from a consultant to senior to business manager. Ran a team, and then I've obviously left to come back, and I didn't bill for 6 months. I didn't bill. Simple as that. I'd had 3 offers as well. They'd all been rejected.
What size offers were it? What sort of market are we talking? Like average fees in that space?
Well, I'll just give you an example, actually, because this will directly answer the question. But one of the offers went through. The candidate, what happened? He got a bad reference, actually, and that fell through. I then set up my company, but because I hadn't actually worked with these clients, they told me they weren't going to take any ownership. So I set up LCR, were able to take the clients with me, and made a placement with that client, 18 grand fee. Yeah. I was just like, my first fee. Yeah. Not straight away. It took a couple of months, but still.
More fool them.
So,
so obviously they didn't back the fact that you were going to turn this around. They were like, you've spent 6 months of money. Yeah. You're in a brand new market. Were they under pressure elsewhere, or did they just?
Yeah, they had financial issues, definitely. Yeah, they
and the fact you'd already left them, probably. I can only imagine as an owner that would affect my confidence in you a little bit. Like, you've left me once,
and they'd got me back on a bigger salary. Yeah. They said, come back, we'll pay you more money. All these things. You can set you up with a new desk, blah blah blah. So I think they'd wanted a quicker turnaround, and I was adamant it was going to work. But everyone thought I was mental. They're like, you've literally just been sacked for not billing, and now you're going to do the same thing and set up by yourself.
You must have felt
going to work.
You felt like you were close to something, right? It wasn't like.
Oh, so close. Yeah. It was so close. I literally had live vacancies. I had offers that were on the table that had fallen through. And I was like, it's going to work.
Did they not sit down, though, and go, what is your pipeline like for the next month or anything? They don't want to know.
We will have been. Yeah, we will have been discussing pipeline. But I think it probably just came down to that I had a bigger salary and they needed to make
Remove you off
some
the wage bill.
costs. I think so, yeah.
So you set LCR up, which I imagine are your initials, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah. So simple.
And I've got married recently, so it's but I haven't changed my
work
my work name. Yeah.
But at this point as well, you've got a young child at the same point of this. So while you're dabbling in exec search and you're launching a new brand, you're also, how old's your kid at this point?
Yeah, 3. So he was 3 when I set up. So and everyone was like, my family was saying, yeah, you're mad, basically. Well, actually, it was funny because I'd had a conversation with my husband literally about 2 weeks before, and I was like, I just want to set up by myself. Like, I need to do it. And he was like, no, you can't. We haven't got any savings. No, you can't do this. And I remember he was specifically saying the only way that you can do that is if something happened, like you got sacked, then you could do it. And then 2 weeks later, yeah. So
Did you put a piece of paper over the table and say, just fire me and I'll be gone? Wow.
Yeah.
That, I mean, before we'll get into the business now, but like genuinely, like, I know I've got a 2.5-year-old right there in my house. My wife has a beauty salon, but she's not really worked much. She does like a day or two a week since she's been born. We're at a point where nursery's picking up to 1.5 days. We'll be 2 days soon. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's been a lot and it's been great. But I can't imagine launching a brand new company in the midst of that. So like, how did you like mentally feel, and how did you make that call? Like what did you have to work out around like looking at all moving parts to say this is worth doing?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, it was the mindset, I think, because there was not a second option. Like that was the only plan. There was not a fallback option because I was adamant it would work. And I remember speaking to somebody and they said, when it's right to set up a business, when it's all you think about and it's like the only thing that you think about. And that was a point I was at. I was, dreaming about it, like literally planning. So it was, as soon as it happened, it was just like, obviously it was overnight. There wasn't any pre-planning really before that. So I just had to immediately get everything.
There was no thought of going at another job.
Absolutely not. No, I was just like, this is it. This is my opportunity. Like, I was so excited by it.
Where
I was shocked. It came as a shock as well.
Where did you work then? What was the setup? And how did you manage it with your little one?
Yeah. So it's just obviously working at home. I say obviously, but working at home. It's hard to think back now. We have a lot of support from my mum. So he was nursery and my mum was helping out. So I think I just worked 3 days a week to begin with. And just made that work. I remember doing a lot of weekends. So just, working on a Sunday evening, getting him to bed and then again, getting back to work. So just working around family time. So otherwise it was, just using the time that I had.
Were you taking calls and checking emails on the days you had your son?
Oh yeah. I mean, you don't switch off.
Hardest bit,
you don't switch off.
It's hard.
Yeah. Constantly. And then having to, sorry if I get interrupted because, I've got my kid here or whatever. There's a lot of that. I mean, I still do that now. That's just part of life, isn't it? So but otherwise, I think, I suppose as well, like it is difficult, but also it's great to have that flexibility, and you almost like people talk about work-life balance and they almost separate work and life. But I feel like you just blend it and it all just becomes...
I've totally blended. There are times where I find myself checking my emails and I'm like, I'm sat in front of my little girl here, like I need to put this away. It doesn't fucking matter what happens. Like I'm putting it away for a bit. I watched Room on the Broom for the 5,000th time at lunchtime today, and I was checking something and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch this end to end, and I did, and it was great fun. To be fair, she was funny. So okay, so tell us, how you did an 18 grand fee in the first week?
No, it wasn't the first week. No, it was like a couple of months.
All right, it was work you'd been working on that bubbled in, and that's great. So then, how did the first 12 months go on your own?
Yeah, I mean, I did 100K in my first 12 months working, 3 days a week. So, and it was COVID as well. It was 2020.
Wow.
So it's December 19 that I set up. So I suppose as well, you can look at the difficulties, but also if I look at the positives, I was already working from home. I didn't need to be furloughed. I didn't need to, set up from home. I'd already set it up. So
looking back, you were going into one of the best times ever in recruitment in terms of the potential boom that came. I imagine as well, fresh produce didn't slow down because everyone needed food, right? Like it was.
Well, yeah, but also we had clients that were supplying food service, like restaurants, which obviously they were just, overnight. I remember I had a candidate, they were about to offer the candidate, and the whole business had to just stop overnight.
Right.
So that obviously didn't go ahead. But then on the other side, we have clients that supply retail and their business boomed. So people are always going to eat fruits and vegetables. So it did. So so it was good. It was good. And that year was definitely a good year. I do remember having to, the whole when COVID hit, and me and my husband having to just take it in turns to work because we've got a 3-year-old in the house.
Yeah.
So
how did your husband take it when you actually got fired and then set it up and then it started to work? Like, what was his reaction like?
I mean, I don't know. I think he just knows how determined I am. So I think even though he probably thought I was is this really a good idea? Should you really be doing this? Should we really be dropping down to one wage? I think he knew that he couldn't tell me, because I just was going to do it. But then I think he just saw that it was working, and that I was loving it as well. And it was difficult. He did give us a lot of support also in terms of allowing me to, work evenings when needed to, and he would do bedtimes or whatever. So it worked both ways. But then it's just great.
So your first year in business, looking back, would have been a very interesting. I mean, the weather was incredible, right?
Yes.
We had that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't slow down at all. My business exploded. I didn't have a day off. It was mental. But I still had a lot of time walking and running and all outside. And it was a complete reset year, wasn't it? It was like, how do you look? What's your memory? How do you look back on that first year now? What words would you use to describe?
It's a good memory. Yeah. Like I do just remember, like you say, the sunshine, being outside. But it's also weird, isn't it? It's a weird time because then there's a time where you can't go and see your family, or you do because they're in your bubble, or you do but you can't sit on a bench with them. It's like so it is mental. It's a weird memory, I would say, of like good but also just a bit crazy.
So then 21 comes round and the rest of the industry booms, right? So 21, 22 are two of the best years in recruitment history. How did that affect your sector?
Well, I don't know. I feel like we have, because we're international. I wouldn't say I don't remember that year being a boom. Was that 21?
21, yeah. So once the world stabilized and realized this is not a financial crisis, this is a health crisis, and there was a pent up amount of recruitment, people had put on pause, it just came back. And almost every sector was doing year on year, like month on month growth and record. And people who had not even went to recruitment were billing stupid numbers. So, I mean, that might not have affected your sector. It could have been that it was.
Well, I had, there's the other thing. So I had a baby in January 2021. So I spent most of 2020 pregnant. So I was off maternity leave for 6 months of the start of 2021, and then I worked 2 days a week.
So for that 6 months, did you let your business disappear then, or what did you do?
I've got a friend who runs his own recruitment business, and I sort of wound it down a little bit, and the clients I had, he managed. So he just managed those few placements for me. We did split fees. So so not much happened. So I guess 2021, so we did 70K in 6 months. So again, would have been growth in terms of the business, and I was working 2 days a week, and I hired my first part-time person in that year as well. So it's a funny year. I don't think I can relate to the same as other people for that year, fair. Because it was different. Yeah.
And then you're back with 2 kids. What was your focus like when you came back from that?
Yeah, I mean, again, so I'm lucky that I've got the support of my mum. So she would be like downstairs looking after my baby, and I would like go down to feed him every so often. So I was like juggling that, work. Again, working weird hours around kids, just working a lot of evenings, again, working weekends, just managing it as I could. And then just not putting too much pressure on myself, because I was only doing 2 to 3 days a week during that year. So it wasn't like massive growth. But then I did hire somebody as well in that time. So I did always have plans.
What was the desire to hire someone when you've got such a young family and you're paying for yourself. But where did that come from? The idea to grow?
Just knowing that as soon as my kids were old enough, I'd start to scale, and that was the plan. So I didn't really want to put that on hold. I just wanted to go ahead. So I hired somebody as to assist me more in like resourcing, and so it was a support function initially.
And what was your strategy like back then? So you're not doing that many hours; they're all over the place time wise. Obviously, you're in a global market, so time zones you can kind of lean in, I suppose, to the time you're working. There'll always be someone who's working. But what was your tactic to winning new business back then?
As in, do you mean like markets or the actual process of winning?
Yeah, like what did you do? Like, so you're a mother of one, now two. You've got limited time available. Sometimes you work in night, early morning, lunchtimes. What are you spending your time actually doing to generate the work that you can then hire someone to deliver on?
Yeah, I mean, at the time we were fully contingent, so I suppose it's always been easier to pick up contingent work. It's harder to sell retainers. So I feel like we're always busy. For me, it's always been LinkedIn. I mean, I started the marketing on LinkedIn probably 6 to 12 months before I set up LCR, because again, I was like in planning, thinking about the future. So I think by that point, I'd already started generating the inbound inquiries. They were coming in. And then it was a lot of email marketing. I just get loads of responses from email marketing. It just works. So I don't think there were many times where we weren't that busy. Obviously with contingent, it's different, isn't it? You're not going to place all the roles that you take on, but we were busy for that reason. So taking on the vacancies wasn't an issue. Right. I think it's more of the issue when you get the commitment from the clients.
Was it sending candidates to market? Was that what your email campaigns were?
Yeah, pretty much, mostly, sending candidates to market. So interviewing really good candidates, and then we'd work on that together in terms of identifying companies, writing the email, getting them out.
Yeah, bespoke.
Yeah.
And that worked. Yeah. And that got you. So what was year 3 like? Now you're back to work. How did that progress? We're into 2023 now, right?
Yeah, so I'm trying to remember now. 2022, it'd be 2022, I think. So yeah, I would have probably up my hours. I think it's hard to remember, but I imagine I would have increased my hours at that point. That's when it was like really starting to ramp up. So both my kids were in nursery. I'm pretty sure I was able to do 4 days at that point. So that was like, right, now is the time to like really focus on ironing out the business, make sure we've got the right tools and tech in place, the right data, starting to hire again. So bringing other people into the business. I think the next people were brought in around end of 2022, start of 2023, around that time. And it was at the time focusing more on Europe and Africa. At that point, they were our main focuses.
What were the symptoms What were the symptoms in the business that indicated you should probably hire more people?
Well, for me, I'm a big believer in not doing the things that I don't want to do or that I'm not good at. So I just wanted to I didn't want to do my own sourcing. So again, hire someone to do that. Admin, CV formatting. I wanted the business to be super professional. So I wanted my CVs formatted really well, have the right document, presentations to send out. So it was hiring for people to do those. The person I had in the UK, she was being trained up to manage client relationships and take some of that from me. Otherwise, they were international, the team mainly at that point. So remote workers,
So where did you go and find them?
Upwork. Wow. From Upwork. Actually, it's funny because my first desire, I remember this. So as soon as I set up the business, the first thing I wanted to do in terms of outsource was my cleaning. So that was the first thing I did. It was hire a cleaner. That was my number one. Yeah. So I was like, if I can get rid of my cleaning, then I can spend more time on other things. So that was number one. I think then it was admin. So I did hire a remote person admin from Upwork. That was, and then. Then it went from there, and then it was, at one point it was marketing. It's always just thinking about what I don't want to do.
Let's go to what you did want to do then. How did you want to spend your days? Like, what were the parts of the job you enjoyed and wanted to double down on?
So client management. At the time, it was definitely a lot of managing the process. So just managing everything in terms of the candidate and client relationships. But eventually that evolved into more the client side, and that's more so what I do now. But yeah, I suppose at that time it was anything that was more back office, let's say, I didn't want to do, and the client and candidate facing work, that's where I wanted to be. So that was my focus. And the LinkedIn, I do enjoy the LinkedIn content.
Yeah.
I still do a lot of that. I outsource some of that, but I don't outsource all of it. So a lot of the more personal posts are still me. Yeah.
As a seasoned recruiter, you know that a CV never tells the full story about someone. Candidates share what really matters during conversations. They tell you on calls, in the interview, over email, what they're motivated by, their salary expectations, plans to relocate, etc. Most of the detail ends up buried in notes, forgotten. It's not on a resume. Now, our headline sponsor, Atlas CRM, changes all of that. It's the first AI native recruitment platform built to eliminate admin. It captures every single conversation automatically that you guys have and turns it into something you can use. They've got something called Magic Search, which is now out, right? And what you can do is ask it questions like, who talked about wanting a 4-day week? Or who've mentioned they're open to relocating next year? It searches across your entire database and pulls the answers instantly. So it's not about keyword guessing and digging through old notes. You get insights from real conversations, not limited by CV fields and coded filters. Atlas also makes BD easier. With their opportunities tracker, you can track and grow with client relationships powered by generative AI. And that's built into an existing workflow. So you don't need any extra tools. It's in the CRM. If you want visibility of your business, Atlas's smart dashboards give you clear view of the pipeline across your business. And it's not theory, right? Atlas customers have reported over 40% EBITDA growth and 80% increase in monthly billings from adopting the platform. Atlas is built for agencies who want to grow without adding more manual work. So don't miss the future of recruitment. If you're sat there thinking I need to bolt AI into my platform today, don't even bother. Just get started with Atlas and unlock your exclusive listener offer at www.recruitwithatlas.com/the rag. All right, let's get back to the show. We talked off air and you said it probably was the first 4 years that you were dabbling because you're being a mother and it was like, part-time here and there. And so we've had, when was it then you were like, right, you can kind of almost say this is when the business properly started? Like what was the period in your mind where you're like, right, this was when we got serious?
Yeah, I think it would be 2023, I would say. So last 3 years is when it was like, I think my eldest would have been started school. So again, that always frees up time. And then it's just, having the time to really focus. So I'd say, the last 3 years in particular was when it's been able to spend more time.
And what would you say your goals were at that point? Like, because you know your business well enough at that point. You know yourself well. You've got 2 kids. Like, what were you setting out to achieve?
So there's a definite gap in the market, and this is what we want to fill, which is to be an executive search provider for the fresh produce industry globally. So there are other search firms that will focus on the wider agriculture, or they'll be country specific, but there's nobody else that focuses solely on produce on a global scale. And many of our clients are global. That's where we come in. So they will have, let's say, farms in South Africa, but also a head office in the Netherlands, and they might have people located in the UK, and now they want a team in China. So at the moment before they haven't had anyone to go to that's able to cover all of those locations. They've had to typically find a new search firm for each location. I was like, well, why can't I recruit in China, or the US?
Why not?
And we still get questions on that, how can we do it from where we are? But a lot of people do see that we can. So that's the goal, and that's what we're working towards, is to be really well known for search in fresh produce globally.
So what do you class as search? What's the minimum level of role that you'll look at in this product?
Yeah, it's around, so we do both what we call mid to senior level retained search and then executive search. So executive really being C-suite, -1, -2, but then also we'll work with clients on more complex mid-level roles, so really looking at sort of senior manager and director. It's hard to give an exact title because it varies, and particularly on salaries, and it's to do with our minimum fee as well. So we might work on a slightly more junior role in the US because we can spend the time it takes because of the fee that's involved.
So what is the minimum? Have you got a minimum number you'd have on that product?
Yeah, so at the moment it's
Yeah.
£12,000 is the minimum. To be honest with you, even when we get those through now, it's a bit like the amount of time and effort it takes to get a result. Are we really that profitable at that level? So yeah, that might change over time, but for now,
Yeah.
that
So
is
what?
yeah.
Talk me through that. What does it take? What is the time frame it takes typically to turn one of them around?
Yeah, it varies, but I'd say so average is 8 to 12 weeks. Um, Often the more junior, we're finding the more complex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Often. And not in terms of the time. I mean, the more senior positions, they do take longer to get for the company to get to a hiring decision, but the people you deal with are usually a bit more straightforward, know what they want. Yeah, you get sort of less complexities in the process, whereas the mid-level, yeah, it can take a lot longer for the mid-level, like 4 or 5 months, let's say.
Is that because they're not
Yeah.
as experienced and they don't know where they want to go quite as clearly as someone at a more senior level? Do you think?
Yeah, and I think maybe they're less Yeah, maybe less open and honest about what they are looking for. Not out of them being like manipulative or anything, but maybe just not having less
Yeah.
experience.
Probably don't know quite as clearly
Um,
either, though, right? There's probably too many. You think
yeah,
there's so many options maybe at that level, whereas when you get to the top, the role's narrow, don't they? The opportunity's narrow.
yeah, and also there's more people at the mid
Yeah,
level, so to find the right one, there's option you've got to go.
go
We
through a lot
get the
more.
CEO role. There's only so many people doing that
Yeah,
right now, so there's only so many people to pick from. So it's easier to reach out and headhunt them. The process then can take longer for the client to get to that hiring decision, but yeah, for us in terms of mapping, identification, getting hold of them, they're often more willing to speak to you as well at the senior
yeah.
level. They probably get approached less.
Well, they will.
So
There's less
yeah.
roles, right? There's less opportunity.
Well, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So what's going through my head right now, which I'm hoping listeners are thinking the same, is when did you actually work out how to sell retained search? So you said you went and did it for a firm for a couple of months, didn't work out, came back. Your business was pretty contingent in the early days. You're a mother. You then 3 years ago say, right, I'm going for this now, and I want to be the retained leader in this fresh produce space. So what did you then do? I think I know, but what did you do to then learn and develop your skill set in that space?
Yeah, so I had tried I tried loads of things actually. I tried a couple of different courses where you go for like a day and you learn about it, and just implementing it didn't work. Selling it didn't work. And also they don't really teach you on the delivery, which is obviously absolutely
Yeah,
key in the
crucial.
process. You can't just run a contingent search on a retained solution. So um, I tried a few different courses, and then it was when I came across the Trained Search Foundations course, and I was a little bit apprehensive, to be honest. I spoke to somebody that I know, and she's listening. She'll know who she is, but and she was like, "Oh, I don't know if you should go with that," So I actually held on going with it for a while
Mm.
because it is quite a big cost. It's a lot more now than it was when I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, game changer. Like literally, I've taken my business to over 90%
Wow.
retained. And it's the delivery, because then clients continue to come back. There's no point selling it and learning how to sell if you can't deliver on it, because you'll never win another one again. They'll never come back to you. So yeah, being able to really successfully deliver on it has been key for us, which means so for example, last year we grew 30%. That was almost exclusively through existing business. So I didn't do that much in business development last year. It was about really looking at that existing
So
business.
how did the numbers change in the last
Yeah,
3 years then? So I know if you go through the first, the second and third year of that seriousness.
yeah. So it will have been so last year we did 650. I'm going to go
Yeah.
backwards because it's easier. 650 last year. Uh, the year before, what was that? 2024, 500 or just short of
Mhm.
500. The year before that was 250, so we
Wow.
doubled
So you can see the
that year.
trajectory there is really clear.
Yeah, exactly. And the year before that was a little bit less. It wasn't massive growth. I think we did just over 200 and then 250, and then it sort
Is
of,
that where the
yeah,
training kicks
doubled.
in at that point?
I did the training, I think, from memory. Was it 2022 or 2023? it was one or the other anyway. I think it might have been 2023. So
Yeah.
So that made a big difference.
So you've got more time, you've got a better process to sell and deliver, and you've got clarity on the focus. And then your numbers move with it. So,
and you're increasing the minimum fee. So it's not increasing the volume, it's the fee level that's going up, and the quality of service that you're providing as well. So then we also started selling other solutions, compensation and benefit studies, talent mapping, talent pipelining. So these other solutions as well, which moves you into that more of that consultative territory rather than just seen as, a transactional recruiter.
Yeah. How did your costs go alongside the sales? Because that's the bit that I'm always interested in. People talk sales, and I mean, you get a lot of turnover numbers in contract temp businesses. That's GP you're talking about, right? Net fee income is the numbers you're talking about. There's all perm in your world, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's your actual fees. So then how did I don't need the exact numbers on your costs, but was it a linear line with it? How did you manage costs over that period? Because that's where it gets tempting to spend.
Yeah, it does. So last year we had 20% net profit. So that was good. It had gone down from the previous year, which was about 25%.
Right.
So again, something we're looking at this year. But I mean, 20% is good. I'm happy with 20%. It's not bad. But yeah. But it is, it's something that I'm actually spending quite a lot more time working on at the moment this year, is looking at the finances. Actually, I'm working with Matt Fox.
I know Matt really well.
So yeah. So I'm working with Matt at the moment. So he's helping me with these things. So
Matt, does he come up north? Has he been up north to see you? Because he struggles. He struggles with the north. We talked about it. He don't really know his way around, Matt. But he got his values.
He got here. Yeah, he did get lost.
He had a nosebleed and he came out the train. So what talk me through the journey then of, because you've got quite an interesting model now. Talk us through the way you've set the team up and what everyone does right now, and then we'll talk about how you got there, because you've got offshore people doing different things. It's quite a lean team. It's profitable, 20% EBIT. It's a great business. So many people would want to have what you've got now. It's inbound. You've got the brand going. You've got the retain. It's phenomenal. So, what is actually around you that's making this work?
So I've got so basically I manage at the moment all of the client. The initial winning of the mandates, essentially. So I will do more on the business development side, as well as very much on marketing. So that's my role. And then I hired a head of delivery, Emma. So she's got 12 years executive search retained experience. So I can now win a retained search and just pass it across. It's amazing. So that's been for the last 8 months when she joined us. Emma's then supported. So me and Emma are the two billers.
And she's comfortable because she's not having to do the BD bit.
Yes.
And you're not having to do the I mean, that is the hardest thing to find, someone who wants to do the opposite to you.
Yeah.
The amount of founders I know that want that person. They're like, or the person who's going to manage people.
Yes.
They hate.
So she's managing a team as well. There you go. She's managing. Yeah. We've got a remote team. So she's got Maria and Belle.
What do they do? Are they just supporting her with CVs?
So Belle is more on the research side, identification, coming up with the talent map, essentially. And then Maria is more on the initial screening of candidates. She's also Spanish speaking, so we get a lot of Spanish searches. So she'll assist with those. So initial interviews of candidates before they're passed to Emma once they've been screened. So then we have Kelly, who helps us more ad hoc. So she's very, very experienced, but will chip in when there's very complex searches. So if we get something random, like we get, I don't know, impact directors in Africa or something, and Kelly's always done it before, so she supports there. And then we have the operations team. So Jan works 2 days a week for us, head of ops, so he's all like looking at systems, automations. He also assists in some marketing for me as well. And then he's in Leeds also. And then we've got two supporting, one supporting Jan in terms of, God, I don't even know what to do sometimes. But yeah, all the database work. Leia's making some agents for us at the moment. I don't know anything about it, but she's working on Microsoft Copilot, trying to create some agents for us. And then we've got Avinash as well in India. He's got his own business. He's like supporting recruitment businesses with admin. He's a full-time member of our team, essentially.
So how many people is that then?
Yeah. Seven. But then Kelly, I suppose, it's a 7 really permanent, like full-time, and then Kelly's more as and when.
So some people might look at this, listen to this episode and think, you know what? There's a lot of people there. For what you're saying, for the numbers, you're doing 650, you could probably strip it to you, Emma, plus 1. But then you won't be able to do the job that you want to do, right?
Yeah, and also they're not 7 full-time people. I'm 4 days, Jan's 2 days, Belle and Leia are kind of probably averaging about 3-4 days. So it's probably 5 full-time people, but also we're in a position now that it's then scaling, so we shouldn't need to really add too many more people to get to the 1 mil mark, which is where we want, which is the
that was going to be one of my next questions. Yeah. So you've actually built the infrastructure around to get to £1 million revenue, you think?
I think so. I mean, it's still, looking at, do I want to really be the only person doing business development? And particularly when we're looking into the US market, which we are doing a lot in, the late nights can be tricky, especially with the family. I'm doing 9 p.m. pitches, it happens. But yeah, so that's something that, again, at some point, do I want someone that can come in and help me with that side? That's hard to hire for, though. Getting someone who just is happy just to do BD. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people who tell you they'll do it, but they ain't going to be you. So it's about finding someone good enough. I think there's an appointment setting type role where, I don't know if have you looked into that, where someone can actually be like screening opportunities or booking opportunities into your calendar. So like,
I've heard about it. I've not really looked into it though. But
so like me and Emma, for example, me and my business partner, it's not the exact same model, but we have a business. It's actually running quite similar. Like there's 11 of us. There's 3 appointment setters, 1 in India, 1 in Canada, 1 in Portugal. We've got a Canadian in Portugal and 2 Brits in Canada and India. But anyway, so they start at midnight. 3 a.m. UK time. The girl in India starts to pick up the phone to our Australian leads, and then the Portuguese guy steps in around 9 a.m. and then the guy in Canada kicks in around 3 p.m. and then he works. So I think we've got about a 4-hour a day non-coverage, but their sole job is to interact with people and try and get calls for my business partner, Amma, and me as an overflow. So Amma's diary is just packed, and obviously we're promoting one of those guys in now to do the job with Amma, which means we'll need another one, and we're organically growing our business development through giving them the opportunity to book calls first and then sit in and learn. Because if you've had a decent recruiter that prefers BD, they could do that job for 3 to 6 months comfortably alongside you and then transition in. Trying to get someone to come in and just take BD off your hands, especially with the search processes you've got. So I think from my experience, I think it'd be an issue.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Definitely, it's something we're looking at the moment. Actually, just thinking about like you say, is it more like of a lead generator that's coming in that can almost just like pick up the phone and book meetings for me, which could be an option.
You'd get someone. Ideally, get someone with recruitment experience who doesn't want to deliver. There's plenty of them. Yeah. But you've got to be giving them. If you've got the inbound model, you've got to be giving them some warm leads to go at. Right? You don't want to go, here's a cold desk, go. Like that's a different job. You've already got a good enough ecosystem that you're probably not phoning the people that you've met for the last 6 years. Yeah. Like, there's probably so many contacts in your LinkedIn network, in your database that you already actually know, but you don't have the bandwidth to go after. And then it's about how do you get more people like that into the database so they can phone them regularly and meaningfully. There's so much you can do, but
that's exactly what I've been thinking. Yeah. And I don't know, I've never hired anyone like that. So I'm like, can that definitely work? I don't know, but
you can.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But it sounds like you're in. Yeah. So let's talk about that. We started off talking a lot about you as a mother and balancing. What's it like now then? Now that you're at a peak performance, trying to hit 7 figures, how do you juggle it? And the kids are a bit older. How are you juggling that now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier now. I mean, my youngest is at school now. He started in September. So it already means, Fridays, typically Fridays have always been my day off. But now I can pick. I can work Friday, or I don't have to. I've been working Fridays a lot. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't have to work Fridays. I have them as my meeting free day, actually, so I can either go to the gym or I can just pick up on things that need doing. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier now. It's nothing in comparison. But I still will have to. It's a hard finish usually at like 5:30. The usual dinner time, bedtimes, and then often back on to do meetings in the evening. Not every day, maybe once or twice a week.
Is your husband okay with that?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, he works from home. His job's really flexible as well, so that helps. Or we'll take it in turns sometimes, and he'll work on the evening and I'll do bedtimes. So
Palai's salon, like if you think about the treatment she does jewelry, she does like bonded, like semi-permanent. Oh no, it's permanent jewelry. She does semi-permanent makeup. So those people coming for that are outside of working hours, right? So there'll be groups of girls coming in at 7 o'clock on a Thursday or a Friday night and stuff like that, and weekends. It kind of all fits outside of what I do, so we have to constantly juggle, so I completely empathize.
So it's not too difficult now. I feel like it's a lot more manageable. Yeah.
How do you feel about where you are? Like when you reflect on it, what emotions come up? What words come up based on where you are right now in March 2026?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. I mean, last year, I'm really happy with last year. There was a lot of challenges last year, which we haven't covered. But yeah, there was a lot of challenges, but we still had the growth, which was great. The start of this year's been a bit up and down. We had a not great January, but then a good February. So yeah, I mean, I love what I do. I love the industry. I absolutely love the industry. It's so interesting. And I love the candidates and clients I deal with. I feel like it's different on international. It really is different to the UK. So it comes with its own challenges as well. But I think the people side of it is very, very relationship driven. Yep. So I love that. And when I go to I'll go to events, like exhibitions, and you get recognized now because of LinkedIn. It's great. So yeah, so that's exciting. So yeah, it's good. I mean, I think as the company scales, there's just more complexities that come with having a bigger business. So I'm experiencing.
So talk me through then. So what were the problems last year? Be honest. What were the challenges?
People were the challenges. People. So had some tricky situations with people leaving, either so hiring somebody who came in and ultimately he wasn't the right culture fit for us. He's gone elsewhere and it was absolutely fine. I see it now. He came to me after 6 months and was like, yeah, it's not right for me. We're quite just quiet. There's only a few of us in the office. A lot of us aren't there all the time. So it's just very quiet. It's more mature environment. There's no drinks after work. There's, none of this. And he was early 20s. When I was in my early 20s, I wanted to be, in a busy office and going out drinking. That's what I did and I loved it. So yeah, I get it. But then I also had a very, long-term member of staff that didn't work out as well. So that was very, very difficult, very emotional situation for both of us, which lasted quite a long time. So that was, tricky for that reason. But that's all done now. So
looking back then, what lessons do you think an aspiring founder, maybe a female founder, what could you tell them? Like, what lesson have you learned that maybe you wouldn't have known at the start?
Oh, it's a good question. I think that it is possible to run a search business working whatever you want, 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, if that's what you want to do. You can do it. You don't have to. It's not all about the billings, particularly when you've got a young family. It's about the flexibility, being able to pick your kids up from school. And I think as well, there's also the element of people seeing you work evenings and that's seen as bad. But why is it bad when you can start later in the morning and pick your kids up and then you want to work in the evening? Yeah. So I think you can just make it as you want and see the rewards.
But do you think did you find like challenges with that though? Because is there a level of guilt attached to that or any doubt in your mind? Because I guess what I'm saying is people might that's the bit they might look forward to. Do you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I can drop my kids off and I don't have a boss breathing down my neck. Like that's the bit I think I loved. I was well excited by that at the beginning. So that, but is there anything that comes with that maybe they haven't experienced yet?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a holiday where I didn't work for, I think, I'm trying to think when the first holiday was. I think it was 2024. It was my first holiday where I actually didn't, and even in that holiday, I remember doing a couple of calls. But generally, I remember going on holidays and literally having to take my laptop with me because I was having to firefight. I did candidate interviews, just working all the time. So it was, I wouldn't say that was necessarily difficult on me because I loved it, but then you have to deal with the family that don't always want you to be working while you're on holiday. My husband saying, like, do you really have to be checking your emails right now? Like, things like this, which is fair enough. So I think balancing that can definitely be challenging. But then, it's got to a point now that I've been on holiday where I literally switched off my email. I did not check my email once during my time.
Great, isn't it?
So
I did that first time in 2024 as well, I think. And then I've done it. I've not done it every holiday since, because sometimes I don't feel like I need to. I went to Morocco in half term, and I got there with the intention of doing a bit of work, and the Wi-Fi was so bad, I then just switched it off, and I was like, nah. And it was great. And it really does. Yeah. But I appreciate the first, for me, it was like 8 years, I think, without that feeling. But you don't always want the time. Be honest. I'm being honest with me. I didn't always want that space either. Like, I bloody loved it. I was so engrossed in my business. It wasn't like I was like, begrudgingly working. I could go to Dubai and work while I was there, and I'd do things, and it was great. But as I'm getting older and I've got kids and more demanding and stuff, I really now appreciate that, and my business is more stable, for sure. What about what have we learned about staying profitable whilst chasing growth? Because that's something we've talked about. Like, what advice you got for people there?
I feel like that's something I'm still learning about, to be honest. And it's important. But I think there are times when you do, like, for example, if I look at last year, we were still profitable, but we had people that were in the business that were meant to bill and they weren't billing. So there's always going to eat into profit, of course. And you're talking about the size of the team now. Again, I'm one step ahead, so I'm always looking at what tools and tech or people we need to get to the next level. A lot of people wait until they're there, which is not wrong at all. So I think it's but ultimately it is important, of course, to make sure that you are profitable and keeping an eye on the figures. I feel like it's just something that I'm still learning about. Spending a lot of time at the moment looking at the figures, understanding them, looking at the spending, where can we cut back, etc. What's not needed.
Shiny object syndrome is real.
Exactly.
What about so looking ahead then? Looking ahead, what is your, if we're going to bring you back on in a year's time, early 27, what do you hope you'd be saying about, like, where you're at then?
Well, the target for this year is 800, and then next year is 1 mil. So we'll be saying that we've hit that target. But it's not just about that. So the big focus for us now is, firstly, so 2 focuses. The US market is a big growth market for us, and also working directly with investors. So we have been mapping out investment funds across Europe and the US. Starting to do a bit of work on South America as well, and then directly working with investment funds that invest in agriculture, essentially, and working with them. So we've just secured our first CEO position, working directly with an investment fund, and they've guaranteed us quite a lot of work across South America, which is exciting. So so that's I see where the growth is. Being able to work with them and their portfolio businesses, essentially.
So 800K could grow into 1 million. And Matt's come in, and I know Matt's experience is around building a business that could be sold. Part of the journey now, is it also about understanding, can I build something that doesn't rely on me and could have value in the future?
So we're basically looking at both options, because I've said I don't know what I want and what that looks like as yet. We've agreed, well, he's told me that it doesn't really matter because both journeys look the same. So whether it's a business that eventually I can step back and have run, or to exit. So we've only just started working together the last 2 months actually. So we haven't got that far yet in terms of the planning. But yeah, but essentially it looks the same. So we are looking at, okay, who do we need in the business? I do not want a massive team. I kind of want to ideally not hire any more than 1 or 2 more people if I can help it. So really growing through automation and AI. So so ideally the team will stay small, but the revenue will grow.
It's exactly how I see it personally. And there is no right or wrong way to do it. I'd say right now in the industry, people running businesses between 4 and 12 people are doing like 3 to 5 million in fees. It's possible, and it's all about the model. I think it's about a combination of a really strong brand and a really clear niche and a really good tech stack and quality delivery processes. It's not just about tech; it's about how you actually follow it and deliver. I feel like you're on the right path. I feel like you're on a really cool business, really clear niche. You're obviously very capable. You've got a counterpart that's capable on delivery. You surround yourself with the right people. Louise Archer, Matt Fox. Like you just need to work with me now. That's the next bit. And that
yeah.
I can't take any credit for your LinkedIn, by the way. I'm not. Anyone listening who thinks Sean must have taught her. No, I didn't. She did it herself. She's great. But no, you've done incredibly well. And I think people should be listening to this. Like I say, it's not only females, but I think I don't think there's enough female founders in the industry. I don't think there's enough who've been on my show. I did a cracking episode with Emma Story recently and talked about the whole working mum piece. And I want more female recruiters to be thinking, I could be like Emma, I could be like Lucy. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
There's literally no reason.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being so open. And if anyone does listen and for whatever reason would like to talk to you, is it okay if they reach out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Reach out anytime. More than happy to hear from anybody.
Yeah, amazing. I wish you the best of luck for the next 12 months. I think you'll exceed that 800K. I'm very confident, but we'll definitely get you back on in the future and see how the journey unfolds. Okay.
Thank you so much. Sounds good.
Cheers. Thanks again for listening to today's episode of the RAG podcast. If you haven't already, please do subscribe wherever you listen to this show. As the more subscribers we get, the more people will listen and the more recruitment owners we can help. As a recruitment founder, you must know that things are changing. AI is everywhere. Cold outreach is getting harder and job boards, well, they're not what they used to be. But personally, despite the negativity, I believe the future is the greatest opportunity of our lifetime in recruitment, because for the first time ever, a founder with 5 recruiters with a clear niche and the right systems can build the kind of influence, reach, and profitability that used to take 500 recruiters and a global office network. The agencies that are winning right now aren't necessarily the biggest, but they are the most visible, the most trusted, and the ones building inbound demand. At Hoxo, we're working with clients who are running multiple 6 and 7 figures in net profit, outperforming the negative noise and headlines. So, to explain what these guys are doing, I've created a brand new free masterclass video for RAG listeners. In this video, it's less than 10 minutes long. I'm going to show you what these businesses are doing differently from the rest. So the link's in the description. Fill in the form, watch the video, and see exactly how this system that these clients are using could work for your agency. Good luck.